One woman asked me a question that, the son actually goes to the barracks to help policemen because his dad was a former policeman, and because armed robbers were actually terrorizing them in their area, he gave the information to.
Arafa na me one question be me person busa was, do you think say corruption e betime to ase the free Ghana and say Africa as a continent, and I say we ase afa na nyina, do you think say corruption e betime to ase African Union against corruption or makoye meeting and also makoye conference I didn't same bia to job muchirim say ekwan a ye befa so betu corruption ase e de free Ghana ha say na ensem a ewo mu no nyabotena membo mu kakra ne nya ho ntia ase yi pa medi any simo di shine na no first that ba channel so bomodin na subscribe na like video na share for my for so enya bi enhwe according to African Union against corruption for no nsem a modi to dwan nyina say corruption say person to ase de free Ghana ha na say bibire mu ha enya se empanyimfo na ache se o manyina wie no are yekoka ha o se e na munja corruption e na munja iskadie poto o na munja tesenye sasa o se no de enka ho kura o se yes starting free kwara abrem no enkra kindergarten fo na o mo kwa you see say primary school obi kope boys prefect obi kope girls prefect obi kope hwahwani prefect e wo school ma ubehuna bakoto ntofen ketinkete no de chairman schoolmate for no ne classmate for said be ya chese omo ne nsem ne beto masum no mato aba ade ma no saba be panyi e wo school mo no omo se no nyina corruption se wodi bibi mo bi said be ya be wini nipa ne favor no nyina corruption ni bia at the end of the day no nipa no oba create that perception they are saying to him say before someone be bibi willingly ade ma me no this say me the bibi am nipa no in exchange and say nipa no aye de me pesa onya no ade ma me eto mo chem say before as betima to corruption asekora free honom no e de say ye de free nkura no so because am nkura na ebenyini ababaye MP ababaye DC ababaye president ababaye ministers ni ade deputy ministers ni ade and if only say ye person to corruption asepa dia ye certain free ase honom kra me person be ko na ekotie nsama ode to dwan bra na ba ko emeki example bia eno me hu ni say eye one deadly ade a ekoso organ ha pa so be hu say corruption ekoso a o report pe no onya asem no man we share example bia arafo menim say waso twetwe so betie but we dey ntie we nim da ye ba be ko san se menim
a DC or an MP, then they graduate to the national level. So what is important is that at all levels we need to be paying attention to corruption, starting, if you ask me, from kindergarten, from the schools. Because if the person is going to stand for school prefect, a primary school, and then he says, I'll give you all toffee, vote for me. I mean, that's how you start. Or in the classroom there, it's like you give them a bribe and then they never put your name on the paper when they do the wrong thing. It's the same thing. So our attention should not just be national level. We should actually be paying more attention to the smaller units, because that is where it begins to be nurtured. And the persons who do it in kindergarten and primary school, secondary school, and then university, when they become your MPs and your deputy ministers or ministers, that is when a lot of money will disappear from the kitty. So let's all as Ghanaians understand that we have a constitutional responsibility, Article 41F, not to be corrupt ourselves, not to support others to be corrupt, to report corruption, and to defend the misuse or the abuse of state resources. And if we take that up and we are responsible citizens, we'll make this country do better. The amount of money being lost to corruption in 1 year is what we go and borrow from the World Bank to pay in 3 years. It doesn't make sense. If we stemmed the issue of corruption, Ghana does not need to go borrowing. Our children will be better. All of us will be better. And we see that a lot of that requires political will and citizens being ready to say that this thing, we must cut it down. Otherwise, our children will have nothing left by the time we are grown and gone.
So the Auditor General's report is always revealing damning revelations. It still continues. Each year there is a damning revelation. Each year there is a damning revelation. Are we not utilizing the Auditor General's report on the office as well as a country?
It is clear that those so-called irregularities that end up in millions or in fact billions, we need to shift the strategy with how we address the specifics. The issues come up and then there's a sitting and then there are instructions given, then they say the audit recommendation implementation committee should look at it. We need to be more drastic. So that's one of the spaces where rethink of the strategy of dealing with the persons that are coming up. And it's one of the areas where the conduct of public officers law, the bill, needs a clearly new strategy on what are the sanctions. You know, at the moment, it looks like we have a very weak sanction regime for these things. So they just talk. Nothing substantive happens. We need a stronger sanctions regime for those elements. And hopefully, in passing the Conduct of Public Officers Bill, we need to look at those issues and make sure that the laws are stringent and the examples that to be set will serve as a very strong deterrent for others to think that they can get engaged in those kinds of frauds and then nothing will happen.
And according to this man, so also some work and I think that some work it makes sense. Pass you provide some sort of security being farmer and conform call reported corruption. Share my created this example of Fancho said, Mako says, a year police need be a fancy or bribe and ask what be bisa. Then I go and report to a fancy be a penny and as I can say, a young police for be and I mean, cancer, and fanny bisa. So now at the end of the day, police didn't make a report to channel no aqua catch there in Nippon say as soon as you and us maintain a back cham say who you say ni say it's that for Nippana or no who are the aqua report and at the end of the day no number by Nipa Bonini or abra or no what tries your best solve corruption or community in Monasa society mono or no mum and our bay Nipa Bonnie. It's according to African Union Against Corruption for which himself yem fa enhihye bi si ho man kofo a mboko nso bi di bone e wa adwuma bim obi di bone o ba bi no kwa reporter yem fa chese security measures bi nto ho ma wase maame bi ba na chese woni eye police fo ne papa police na ne papa police ntino na ota akọ barracks ni ade no hu se akronfo bi te ha omo e wo area mu ho no kwa report che police fo no at the end of the day no police fo no se akote ho kire akronfo yi se esumasi anaso obenti na beka kire yese momo na mo ya akronfo amo ha enkofo mo krom ha ama enkofo ibo mo ho pose abrante no komba yini de afiri ho ya na maame na ekopie so a na nkanya asam keto akra yetie sama man yi ede to dwa na example make with regards to say you provide some sort of security for enkofo a omko report corruption ekoso e wo Ghana ha say
is people coming forward with information, you know, but I can tell you that, you know, if people will feel comfortable coming out with the information that will help us to solve this corruption problem, then there is a need for a robust protection, you know, for such people, because nobody will voluntarily come out with information if he knows that he or she is going to be victimized for coming out with the information. And there are a plethora of cases where people have come out with information because they have seen the corruption going on in institutions, but you know they have been victimized. You know, there have been countless examples. You know, and like the example that I gave you, we were doing an anti-corruption program, and after I have, you know, given out the information how people can report corruption and all that, you know, one woman asked me a question that, you know, the son actually goes to the barracks to help policemen because his dad was a former policeman, and because armed robbers were actually terrorizing them in their area, he gave the information to the police, and later one morning when she was selling, she saw that the woman, some group of guys were standing somewhere discussing that they were going to kill someone, and she got interested only to discover that the description that they were giving fit his son. And so he approached them, and you know, they actually told him that the police said that it's the boy who gave the information, you know. So all that I'm trying to say is that if people will be comfortable to come out with information which will help in the fight against corruption, there is the need for a robust protection from the security services, you know. And when it comes to the public service, sometimes people, you know, their superiors can even, you know, victimize them because they are trying to raise questions about, you know, certain practices and so on and so forth. So that's just what I'm talking about. Yes.
This report that will be soon implemented is, from what we are hearing, is like it will be tackling corruption from the bottom up. Do you subscribe to that?
You see, from the very beginning, I've said that the fight against corruption should be holistic. We need every hand on deck. Whether it's going to be bottom-up approach or top-down approach, all approaches are welcome in this fight. We cannot afford to sidelined any effort. All efforts are welcomed in this fight against corruption. That's my opinion. Yeah. My name is Mr. Barr, and I'm with the NCC Ashanti Regional Office.
Yeah. For me, sense sama African Union for you to ye say a task to muyi pa because say me who bone say question no me so ka report na say at the end of the day me ho ba kire me na so bi be fam ho tan de me hu a and I mean, Mamma, whom I then put in my pocket, and my cock, who my smoke, and as my knock, I am coca, and my benyasum, and who one my dean. So I make sure no chum, I'm become baby because I'm payment was him. In order, sir, a corruption, a 2 better organ has will be bizarre, no report here, much them say young bonny pan home by the identity, young home by celebrate your chinabinum, the home and cobas. Mother for Chawadi in the comment section. Now, in seminar, sir, this seminar course on Chawadi, do you think, Sir Ghana, we need such seminars because the BS, we are the best psyche against corruption. Chawadi in the comment section, my medini Simo the shine and no phrase that about channel is more than the subscribe and like video and share my for us. Share in the next video.